So what we see here is a product rule. The reason I know it's a product rule is because there seems to be two distinctly different parts in it. I go to my tables, I look for the product rule. Okay, then I go U is cos x. Now when I differentiate cos x, once again I go to my tables and check it. Cos x turns into minus sin x. And then I go for phi, which is tan x. Once again I check my tables and I see what tan x turns into. It turns into secant squared x. Is that cool, you guys? Now I do the product rule. U times the v dx, so cos x times secant squared x plus what's a phi times the u dx, which is tan x times, anybody? Tan x times minus sin x, is it? Oof, interesting. This is not easy. Yo.
I did it like really easy way.
Okay, have I made a mistake yet?
Instead of putting the sec squared x, you put sin x over cos x. Yeah.
Straight away. And differentiate, that's much easier.
And then you secant sin x.
That's so much easier. Fair play to you. Now that I've put myself into this hole, I want to see if I can dig myself out of it, okay? Just to see if I can. Right? So I think I'm gonna take your advice and I'll change tan x into what, lads? Huh? Yeah, I'll change tan x into sin x over cos x. Is that okay with you? Okay. Oh man, I'll get it, but it's not great. What's secant squared x the same as? 1 over cos squared x, isn't it? And that's not good. I think I've well and truly dug myself into the hole here. Yes, Charlie?
At the very start, before you even
differentiate, that's what Joe said.
but before you even differentiate anything, tan x equals sin x for cos x.
That's what I said.
That's what he said.
Cos x times tan x. So you could just do that and then
That's exactly what I said.
I think it is exactly what he said. No, I'm interested to see if I can get myself out of this, just as an exercise to myself. Alright, I actually can. Okay, everybody see that? So, oh yeah, like I'm just in an absolute war here at the moment, am I, with this? Factorize cos x from the top, and what do I get? Does everybody see I get cos x multiplied by 1 minus sin squared x? And what is 1 minus sin squared x? It's cos squared x, because you use cos squared x plus sin squared x equals 1. And as Joe and Charlie have rightly pointed out, like it wasn't necessary for me to enter into a battle like this. See the cos squared x? Cancels, leaves me cos x. That's great and all, but had I been alert and not a bit more on autopilot, what the lad said was the best way to do it. Just change tan x into sin x over cos x. Cancel the cos x's. F of x equals sin x. Differentiate it once, and it changes straight into cos x. That took 2 lines, did it? And my one was an absolute war, wasn't it? So it just shows you can do everything right, but if you don't spot a shortcut straight away, you can really be time consuming. So sometimes it's just worth stopping, thinking, is there a quicker way, before you jump right into it. Good job, lads, Joe and Charlie. Now, alright guys, we go 10. Alright. Now, just make sure there's no shortcuts to this one. I don't believe there is. Alright. Differentiate. What happens when you differentiate sin x? You go to your tables on page 25. Sin x turns into cos x. Cos x turns into minus sin x. 3 times minus sin x? Minus 3 sin x. Okay? Show that. So we're going to do a bit of input in here. cos x multiplied by the derivative. That's the derivative. And then y. What's y? What is y?
Sin x plus 3 cos x.
And what do we have to multiply that by?
Sin x.
And show that equals 1. Alright, let's multiply this out, lads. Cos squared x, 3 sin x cos squared x plus sin x by sin x.
Sin squared x.
I'm thinking I made a mistake somewhere, did I?
Extra cos x and multiply.
Huh?
Cos x minus 3 sin x.
Oh, this part here. That's just, yeah. There we go. They weren't going to cancel, were they? So I was lucky that this was a show that question. Because it was a show that question, you could work 2 lines ahead of yourself and go, wait a minute, that isn't going to cancel. Wait a minute, I made a mistake. Okay? And that's the great thing about that type of question. So I'm just trying to get my... Alright guys, what cancels? Those two, don't they? And what is cos squared x plus sin squared x? 1 equals 1. Done. Yep. Yep. So I've done 6 and 10, and now I'm off to do 12, I believe. 6, 10, and 12. Alright. Example. If I ask you to differentiate cos 5x, what would the answer be? Cos turns into? The angle remains the same. Differentiate the angle? 5. Now, instead of 5, what do I have? It's a quarter pi. So it's exactly the same thing, except it's a quarter pi. Okay, so anywhere you see a 5, put what in? Yeah, exactly. And here? Quarter pi, isn't it? Yeah, so it's exactly the same technique, except it's a fraction with a pi symbol. Alright, what else does it want me to do? X equals 4, and that's dy dx, isn't it, because I differentiate it? Minus pi over 4 sine pi over 4 multiplied by 4, is it? That's 0. That's sine pi then, isn't it? And what is sine pi? Sine pi is 0, isn't it? So the whole answer is 0. Who got that one? Now, 14. Okay. This one isn't the worst. Alright. Differentiate f of x. Adam, what does cos change into?
Minus sine.
What about the angle?
The angle stays the same.
What you do with the angle then?
Differentiate that.
When you differentiate it? 2. Okay. And Quevine, what would you do with g of x, buddy? Looks weird, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What type of rule would you go for here? Has a power, doesn't it? Yeah, I'll go for the chain. So what happens when you bring the 2 to the front? 4 sine x to the power of? What? 1. Now what happens to the missing sine x? What? What?
You multiply that.
Differentiate it.
Right.
Once you differentiate it,
Cos x.
and that answer would be 4 sine x cos x, okay? Now what does it say at the end? Show that when you add them together, the answer is 0. Okay. What's f of x? Minus 2 sine 2x. And g of x is? Anybody know where to look? Page 13 or 14 of your maths tables. Do you see anything for sine 2a or sine 2x? What do you see? What do you say, Matthew?
2 sin x cos x.
2 sine x.
Cos x.
And what is minus 2 multiplied by 2 sine x cos x?
Minus 4 sin x cos x.
And what happens to both of them when you add them together then?
0.
0. How many people got stuck at that point and you're just like, can't do it from there? Yeah, so it's just known to look at the trigonometric rules. It's the other one. You have to know to be able to look for them. Okay, we all good? Alright, is that the last question I gave us?